Hello everyone, Anita here and welcome to week 12 of the 52-week illustration challenge. The theme for this week was a non-dominant hand and oh my god, I was struggling with this one so badly. I really wanted to make an illustration, kind of illustrating the non-dominant hand, but that really failed and I didn't have anything interesting that I wanted to illustrate, so I've decided to go with the most obvious, just painting something with my non-dominant hand, which in my case is my left hand, since I'm right-handed. So, as you can see on the right, we have a little mermaid in a tear-shaped... what is that? Is it a terrarium? I suppose you could call it a terrarium. It was supposed to be a terrarium, so... and we've created that, well, I've created that during a live stream, solely for the purpose of making a left-handed attempt at painting it. And it might actually look, now that I'm looking at the process, it looks really quite good, actually, the process itself. But let me tell you, this was so painful. I am really bad at drawing with my left hand. It's compared to my regular lines and just the feel. There was none. There was no feels in this painting. I really had problems with making the lines even. They kept coming out squiggly. Like every single time I tried to make a nice line, it's like I had some kind of spasms in my hand and it came out wiggly every single time. It was crazy. I did my best at recreating the exact shapes, but as you can see, the teardrop on the left is much smaller than the teardrop on the right, and the opening is smaller. But I've decided not to be too specific. I really wanted to kind of go with my regular way of working to actually see what would the result be if I just painted as usual, but with my left hand. So I'm usually, when I paint on watercolor paper, like I sketch on watercolor paper, at least I try not to erase too much, and that's what I was doing here. So I was trying to make those lines kind of final, and it's really hard. The pencil did not lay in my hand at all. It was just it was really awkward. Pencils always feel like part of my hand, especially nowadays when I draw so much. But I was so aware of the pencil in my hand when I was holding it on the left. It was crazy. It was so weird. And I kept trying to kind of establish the shapes a little bit better, but it was just so bad, so I gave up. And now I'm using my UniPin fine liner to just make, just start at least, attempt to make lines. But the way I'm actually using the fine liners is very, I don't know how to call it, a very angle. I need this like an angle to use them properly, so I was really struggling on holding them on an angle where they would actually draw. And you can see me actually pulling the fine liner over the paper sometimes, and there's nothing coming out because I'm not holding it on a right angle. So I wasn't actually that unhappy with the line art. There's something really charming about using a lot of squiggly lines together like this. It had this organic feel to it that I really enjoyed. Even if it didn't match my accents, the whole character looks so derpy. And I was really, take the whole thing wrong. I was really trying my hardest. I wasn't just, doodling. I was really trying hard to make this look as pretty as possible. Of course, I'm going out of the of the view because why and not? I'm actually watching it for the first time. I haven't watched this before. I wanted to have like the first view, kind of first reaction. Like this thing here. Oh, it's so even. Like it's waved so evenly. Oh my god, it was like, it hurt me, really physically hurt me to draw like that. It didn't feel good at all. And but the only thing I really liked here is how nice and organic the lines looked. And they kind of look very sketchy, which is what I like. I'm not a big fan of, uneven line arts, but I like the sketchy look. So I don't know, I might actually attempt to recreate this look, just the sketchy look like that. Of course, just a little bit more even and with my right hand, because I liked it. Here I actually managed to draw the teardrop unevenly. That's what I was pointing at. And I was so frustrated about it. And I ended up not drawing in the book, which I realized right now. So I'm drawing it in. And also on the original picture has much bigger book and much more detail in the book, but I gave up. In the end, I didn't really draw much more of it. So far so good. I went through the worst in my opinion. The whole line art part was the line art and the sketch, they were the most frustrating of all. Painting wasn't that bad. It was really hard to hold the paintbrush, of course, just the same as with the pencil, and the pencil and the oh my goodness and the pen. But the only problem here that it's just my hand is kind of twitching uncontrollably. It's like the left hand, the right hand wants to help and is pulling on the left hand. As you can see, I'm holding my right hand really close at all times. I actually don't do it that much when I normally paint. At least I'm not aware of it so bad. I was so aware of that right hand being next to me the whole time. And I'm trying to make the even layers, the even washes like I normally do, but they come out so splotchy, even though I was really trying my best. It's like my hand is not fast enough, that as well. Stripes. Yeah, stripes were... Oh my god, the stripes were just... I was drawing them, I was like, Anita, you know what? That's okay, you can do stripes with your left hand, that's perfectly fine. And I tried, but I couldn't get over it. I tried dragging it, with the tip. I tried painting with the tip. I tried dragging the whole length of the brush down so that it's kind of using it as a guideline. It didn't work. So I've decided, okay, I'm just going to make them very lightly and maybe later on come back with the darker color, but look how wonky everything is. And I'm still trying my best. I was really putting my all in it. It actually took me to painting the whole painting. Took about 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours. Look how wonky. It's like I'm doing this on purpose. You can literally see how shaky my hand is. It's unbelievable. So on my original picture, everything is very perfect. Well, not perfect, but very, I worked on it very hard and added a lot of those beautiful details. And here I can't add the same detail. For some reason, even though I'm trying really hard, I can't build up the usual brightness of color that I paint with. And to be quite honest, it's only about the smaller details. Once I move to the bigger areas, like here with the bigger brush, it's a little bit easier to control the flow of the paint. So it's only the things that are supposed to be very clean and even that are coming out wonky. Once actually the watercolor background in this case was very complimented by my shaky hand because, it was really wobbly by itself. So that came out pretty well. And the more I was actually painting, the better it came out. So it's definitely a practice thing. I realize that. I've never ever before painted with my left hand. This is literally my first painting painted with the left hand, so... And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about it. It's just that compared to the picture of on the right, so what I can normally do, you know, it's really frustrating to see that I can do the same thing with my left hand, but, you know, what do I expect? I don't exercise my left hand, so of course it's not gonna be the same. And I had a lot of fun painting that background, actually. It was quite a lot like painting normally with my right hand. There was not much difference. I just kept adding layers and wiggling it around. It wasn't that hard to get to the edge. That big brush was very, very forgiving. So, not much trouble there. And as I said, because my hand was so shaky, it was nicely camouflaged by, you know, by this background, by this really, really messy background. And when I was painting the original version, I didn't even think about it. I was trying on purpose to fit as many details as possible just to see how it would work out. The only thing is that while painting with the left hand, as you can see, I am actually flipping the painting a lot. I try not to do it in when I paint for YouTube for the videos. If you probably noticed, I usually keep them in one position. But here I really had to flip the painting, and you will see me doing that again later on, and I really wanted to do it right in this moment while painting the stripes, just because I just couldn't put my hand in the right position to you know, to paint with the element that I wanted to paint. And I don't really know what it was about. I think it's just a matter of, you know, exercising the angle, because I don't have much problems with painting with my opposite hand, to getting to the, you know, angle on my opposite hand. So it's just that my hand didn't know how to move properly. It's kind of funny when you think about it. I mean, technically we are doing everything with our both hands, but in reality we're not using that much at all. At least majority of us, there are those few chosen ones that can use their both hands, and it only made me realize that if anything happened ever to my right hand, I would be devastated. I was thinking about it at some point, but I was trying to be optimistic and think that I can always paint with my left hand, and of course I would. It would take, you know, a lot of exercise and getting used to, but I think I could, you know, draw just as good as I would be as I'm drawing with my right hand. It would take more time, because this painting is not a very good indicator. It's because I've already painted it once, and I was painting this exactly the way I would paint normally, which means that, you know, for painting with left hand I would have to adjust the way I'm painting, I think. Now, enough the rambling. Very deep thoughts I'm having at the moment. Here I'm putting in the leaves that are in the original as well. And these leaves were giving me another headache. Just because they're not coming out, they were, I just couldn't really, I thought that by just pushing against the paintbrush the way I would normally do, I would be able to get the nice leaf effects, but as you can see, in some places it works. And the further I go, the better they come out. Except this one part here, which I don't even know what it's about. But it didn't work. My hand was twitching. Really, it was twitching like it had a mind of its own and was rebelling against me. I didn't even attempt to paint in this really nice white edge inside like the whole glass shape had a white edge against every opening. So the middle ring had a white edge and was feathering nicely out into the background. And I tried to do it, and my hand was not fast enough. I'm trying to fix a lot of mistakes with the colored pencil, and I have to say that the colored pencil was helping a lot. I didn't have as much problem with coloring like this as I had with painting, and that's simply because I could just rest my wrist. And as you can see, I was pretty much using only one motion, so not really, not a lot of detail there. And I'm adding the last details. I tried to recreate it as close as possible to the original. Of course, the colors differ, you know, the intensity of color differs, but I wanted to at least incorporate all the elements. And it was actually really lucky because I saved the palette from the original painting. Here, this angle here was really hard for me to get. Extremely hard. I remember I didn't know how to approach it. And while using the pit pens, you've never seen me use them before, didn't you? So I'm using the pit pens because black seemed too dark, and I really want a nice darker edge to the whole shape. And as you can see, I will be moving the paper. I just couldn't. Yes, this is me banging my head against the table, just because my hand twitched again, and I left this one spot on the paper. And at that point, I was just so on edge, so frustrated, nothing wanted to work, and it's kind of funny how just these are inanimate. Inanimate, is that a word again? Like non-animal. These are dead things, like they're not alive. They're just objects, and they make me so frustrated. So the only thing I've done differently to the original, I've used, I didn't use gouache with the paintbrush because I felt that with all the wiggly stuff that I was doing, it would be just way too much. It wouldn't have the effect. I would just mess the whole thing up. I thought that I would have a lot more control over a pen, and so I just used my Signo gel pen, the old one too, the one that's almost dried out, because it was much more opaque, and I don't know, because it was broader, I felt like I had more control over the line. So I keep adding the lines. It really looks fast here on the speed paint, but I was taking my time with it as well, and I wasn't rushing at all. I was trying to be really I was trying to add those highlights in places, the same places as the original. So in the end, I'm actually quite happy with how this turned out. It reminds me of some of my old paintings, like from a year or two ago. And here I'm adding the pattern. The origin pattern, if you've watched my stream, you will know that I've added little flowers over the whole, background. And I painted them one by one, so painted flower after flower after flower. Now here I got smarter because I painted it once again, and I knew how to approach this pattern a little bit better. And so I'm drawing the dots that comprise, that's an interesting word. The dots that are in the middle of the flower, I'm just making kind of dotting them first and then painting the petals around it, and it makes the pattern a little bit more cohesive, especially when I was having a bit of a wiggly time with my left hand. And notice how I'm holding that pen. It's like I'm having a really fancy cup of tea. But the gel pen came in handy. I've covered that little mistake I've made before, so as you can see, there's no more weird dark spot on the background. It's a really, really opaque gel pen. I'm really happy with it. I hope they're going to restock them soon at our local art store, because the one I'm using, it's from the same company, but it's not the Signo Broad, it's just a regular gel pen, and it's not as opaque, which makes me sad. And the last thing that I almost didn't add, the little bow at the top. Yeah. And here they are next to each other. They're not that different. I mean, I did a pretty good job. It was painful, but I think if anything happens to my right hand, I can definitely make a living with my left hand. So thank you so much for watching. If you would like to see this version, and both of them actually, in a bit better quality, then please head to my Facebook page or the 52 Weeks Illustration group, Facebook group page. Oh, this is always such a tongue twister. And I've recently started live streaming, so if you would like to see me, paint with me live and have a little nice chat, then there is a link to my Twitch down below. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!